All right. Welcome, everyone, to Dance Podcast. I'm your host, Will Morales. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about all things house. Whether you're a DJ, producer, dancer, skater, this podcast for you. Today, I have a great guest, DJ Silent H. But before we get to her, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Will at Dance House Dance, and our Facebook group, which is Dance House Dance. So, anyway, DJ Silent H, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I am good. Listen, I've been trying to get this young lady on for a little while now. I heard it last year was it last year? You were at Central Park
Yes.
and I heard you and I thought you were really good. I liked your music. You had us all skating and dancing. So it's a pleasure having you on the show. How are you?
Thanks. I'm good. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
Well, it's my pleasure. So, Silent H, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into like house music? How did you get into DJing? What was that journey like for you?
Okay, so house music for me it's been a part of my life. Um, First I have to preface this by saying thanks for saying this young lady because because when I tell you I started listening to house music probably around 10 years old, and that was pretty much around the time that house music really was blossoming. So I'm talking like late 80s.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so my older brother introduced me to house, and it was just something that I fell in love with. Every weekend I would get my allowance and I grew up in New Jersey. So I would go to the record shop in West New York and spend my money on records.
Mm.
And I think one of my first house records was Salsa House by Richie Rich. So that's like one of my first memories. Obviously, then you got into like the hip house with like Jungle Brothers, and
Yeah.
there was just yeah. So it was just like it was just always there, and being in I guess in also the tri-state area, it was just very much part of growing up, so close to New York City. I just always loved it. And then when now in like mid 90s, before they really started getting so strict with IDing and all of that, I was already at the clubs when I was 16 years old. So I went to USA, I went to Limelight, Tunnel. So that's where it all kind of began, and then I spent a lot of times at the clubs, every single weekend. And I listened to other music all the time. I grew up listening to a lot of music. My parents are from, Latin America. So there's always music playing in my house. My dad was an avid collector, but house music was just different for me. And then for many, many, many years, I always toyed with the idea like, oh, I kind of want to learn how to DJ, but I never did it. The same thing happened with roller skating. And now that I'm, kind of like late 40s, I decided I'm just like, I'm going to do this because why not? And I started 2 years ago.
Wait a minute. So you tell me that you started DJing in 2023?
Yeah.
Wow. So you're still brand new. So who were your inspiration when you started getting DJ started becoming a DJ? Who did you follow? Were there anybody that you liked when you were growing up?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, because I was always out at the clubs, back in the day, I would love Danny Tenaglia. I would go to Twilo every weekend. I was at Tunnel with, Junior Vasquez. Then Café con Leche, you had Lord G, you had Merit. And so these were all like sounds that I guess just kind of developed maybe inside of me, or just that I got so accustomed to that this is just what I grew up with.
Right.
And then obviously then you have like Louis Vega, Kenny Dope, yeah, Joe Clausel. These are, Danny Krivit. I was 718 Sessions, Body and Soul. I was in there. So these were all inspirations for me. And back then, also, we didn't have really a lot of female DJs
Right.
the way that it is now, which is amazing to see. So a lot of my inspirations and just people that I always admired were always just men because
Yeah.
that's basically who we had.
Yeah, it's funny because I've had some women DJs on before, and I'm amazed at how much you ladies are making an impact into house music. And I have a few favorites, like yourself and other DJs like DJ Dada, La Diva, and a few others. And I just love the way you ladies play. And I love that the way house music has evolved from like the late 80s to now. Now you got all these remixes and things like that. So do you remember getting your first gig? Like, what was your first gig like?
Oh, okay. So I have to say that when I decided to start learning to DJ, I had zero expectations. I remember I bought my first controller from Shan S. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that name. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and so he's just like, "Oh, you'll be outside playing, this summer." I was just like, "Oh, no, no, no." I like the idea of me playing out in public was just something that I was not, it wasn't my goal, it wasn't my aim. It was
Right,
just me, I wanting to learn, just because I love house music so much, and especially, I play other things, but house music is
right.
where I really like to reside. Um, and it was actually through somebody that I knew from the roller skating community. And he said, "Hey, do you want to come and play?" This was about maybe 4 months after I started.
Oh,
He
wow, that
said,
was quick.
Yeah, I wasn't very confident. And especially like, okay, putting myself out there now and, facing the people.
Right,
Because
right,
I was just,
right.
I was just like the bedroom DJ. And he said, "Hey, you want to come? It's just, very kind of like low key. My friend is doing a pop-up at this coffee shop or whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Because then I looked at it as just like, okay, I need to get past this hurdle, because I'm quite shy. So I need to get past that hurdle and get used to playing in front of people because maybe this is something that I'll want to do. Right.
Right.
And so it was at a coffee shop somewhere here near Brooklyn, like near Crown Heights. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
But I had a bunch of I'm part of the roller skating community. I'm also part of the dance community. So a lot of my friends and people came to support, and then it just felt natural. I'm just like, okay, this is like a safe space because it was kind of like low risk, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And that was the first public appearance of Silent
Wow.
H.
And it was in Central Park, because as skaters and dancers, we're harsh. If we don't like the
Ooh,
DJ, yeah, we'll say something. So
oh, I know.
yeah, so so how did you come up with the name Silent H as a DJ name? What was the origin of that?
Okay, so my name is Amy, but in Spanish it's Aime, and it's spelled with an H, right?
Right.
And so anybody who speaks Spanish knows that the H is silent. We don't pronounce it in Spanish. And so
Right.
I have a friend, a skater, maybe you know him, Derek, and he one time said, "Oh, your DJ name." He said something along those lines, like, "Oh, I don't know what it was. It was just my profile on Instagram said the H is silent." So it had my name, it said the H is silent. So
Right.
then from there, I kind of just started like brainstorming a little bit with, friends and family, and I came up with Silent H.
Okay, no, no, that's a good story. When you do, in other words, okay, so your first gig is at Central Park, which is amazing to me.
No, I'm sorry, it wasn't at Central Park.
Okay. It was at that was it the
It was at,
pop-up
yeah, it was
coffee?
at, it was at, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the first one.
Okay. So when you did that, the pop-up, and then you did Central Park, um, did you have like a list of music that you were going to play? Did you look at the crowd and see if they were dancing? Like, does the crowd ever impact you in your choice of music? If you playing maybe instrumental house or you playing some house with words, lyrics, Does that play impact with you depending on how the crowd is moving? Did my question make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So the way that I prepare before playing anywhere is just understanding who I'm playing for,
Okay.
right? So, for example, I am a roller skater as well, and so I know that we're very, very critical. And not everybody loves skating to house. So it's definitely not everybody's cup of tea,
Right.
and I have, stories about that. But um so is understanding one who I'm playing for. And then for skaters, I know, for example, I can't go super high in the BPMs because it's just not really, it's harder for people really, like especially new people, to have control and balance if the BPMs are like 124. Like we're not doing
Right.
that for rhythm skating. So I also play for the hustle, new style hustle community. And I am very, I have to make my selections according to um, also the style of what they're doing.
Right.
I'm not going to play also super fast music. And I just, there's like a sweet spot. And I do fluctuate sometimes between, some genres and also obviously BPMs, depending on the crowd. And
Right.
then dancers, it's a different story too, because, I can definitely, I feel like with, I've played at like house head session or, house dancers, and I can play around a lot more
Right.
with
Yeah, no,
them.
no, I definitely understand that. Um, so you get to Central Park, you start making connections and all that because people, when we heard you, we like what we heard. So that was a good thing.
Thanks.
Um, so when you started listening to house, as when you got a little bit older, especially in the 90s and the 2000s, were there any particular type of DJ that you would listen to? I know you mentioned a bunch, but when it came to the house side, like Louis Vega is very popular, or David Morales and all that, were there any ones that you followed or that you liked their music or you liked their style of playing? Again, did my question make any sense at all?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, I mean, I honestly, I followed Louis a lot. And I was at the Roots party at Cielo every Wednesday. Joe Clazel is also somebody that I've always
Yeah,
admired, and the way that he plays. And um, I would say that I followed them a lot, and I would just go to all of their parties. So definitely, like I said, it was a very inspiring
yeah,
to hear what they did. Also, I have to say, when in the early 2000s, especially Cielo, like I lived there because I was there at least 2 to 3 times a week. Became friends with a lot of the people that would play there. The resident DJ Willie Graff. I remember
yeah,
one time, well, several times I would go up to the booth and I would just see how he controlled the crowd and the vibe. And that was
yeah.
something that was just so incredible to me. And also witnessing it from his viewpoint. So that was, yeah, it was just so magical.
Yeah, no, I could imagine. So when it comes to DJ equipment, right? How did you start picking your equipment? I know you got your first, was it your first, was it the mixer from Shan S? Was it that one?
I got a like just little controller, secondhand
Yeah.
controller, so I can just get used to it. And then what happened, can't remember where it was that I was going to play, that I needed to learn. Oh, I remember what it was. I did an open decks last year at the bar at Cafe Kitsune in
Okay.
Durham Hill, and they had CDJs. And now all of a sudden, I'm just like, I need to learn how to use CDJs. So I started going to pirate studios to get accustomed to it. And then last summer, the way that I like to say it, so I'm a resident with Love City. They do like these summer madness parties, and it's led by Bradford James, Dave Diesel Rivera. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they brought me on, and every week it was basically like learning new equipment on the fly.
Oh, wow.
Um, Yeah, because some DJs, some of the guest DJs that they brought, would play on different equipment. And so obviously then I needed to learn to use it. It was just like, okay, I have 5 minutes to learn this. And I love now playing, like I don't really enjoy having my computer. I just love the idea of just like the USB. I think it's just so convenient.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
but
you have your mixes, you have your music pre-mixed in the USB or yeah.
no, it's just tracks. It's just tracks.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So basically, yeah, what I'll do is, depending on the party that I'm playing for and understanding the crowd, basically create crates. So back in the days, DJs had their vinyls, they would,
Yeah.
select whatever it was and put them in their box. And basically, I'm doing the same thing, but just with digital files. And
Isn't
then
that so much easier?
it is. I mean, it is a lot easier, for sure. I would love to, learn to play vinyl. I know it's more challenging,
Yeah.
but I definitely want to learn how to do that.
Yeah, no,
But
I'm pretty sure you
yeah,
will when you get more of a chance. And we're talking with Silent DJ Silent H on Dance House Dance podcast. One of the things that I'm amazed is like how when a DJ's playing well, how you control the crowd. I love that stuff. As a fan, as a skater or a wannabe dancer, I just see how when the DJ's on a roll and he's playing or she's playing three, four, five, six songs in a row that you just can't get off the dance floor because I'm like, man, one song is better than the other. So I love that about you guys that I think you could control a crowd if the music is banging. And I love when you guys play bangers because I'm not getting off. And I don't want nobody around me because I'm in my zone. Do you feel that when you're playing, like you start seeing people in their zone, all that? How does that make you feel as a DJ? That I like to get that point of view.
you can see by my smile. I was
Oh
just like,
yeah.
it's honestly, it's such an amazing feeling. And again, because I didn't have any expectations when I started doing this, to see that what I'm playing is resonating with people, and especially roller skaters, because that's how it kind of like I started playing in public more with skaters and seeing, okay, I'm connecting with people. And
Yeah.
then once you start seeing, it's just like, okay, maybe not everybody's moving again, because I've had people that are just like, are you playing anything else? I'm like, no, this is what I'm playing. This is it for, like I play at Brooklyn Skates every second Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
And now people have grown to understand, like, okay, when she's there, this is the kind of music that's going to be, and I'm consistent with. So
Oh,
for me,
okay.
then yeah, when I see people vibing, then it feeds me, and it makes me so happy. And till this day, it's very surreal feeling
Yeah.
for me.
No, I listen, like I said, I see it when I'm on the dance floor and I could tell sometimes the DJ's on a roll because they're concentrating on what they're playing. So I love that. So for anybody that's up and coming, right? They go to you, they go DJ Silent H, I want to be a DJ. I don't know anything about it. What can you recommend? Like what would be some steps you would recommend for up and coming DJs?
Um, Again, I consider myself a novice still, despite, having had the, opportunities that I've had. I'm only 2 years in, but I think for me, the most important thing is um, the reason like you want to do it.
Right.
Is just really like a love of the culture and understanding and respect of the culture, and understanding and really knowing your music. I
Yeah.
think you know, I think that's one of the things that I think has worked really in my favor, is just that I'm new to the technical part of it. I'm not new to the music at all. Like the music has just always, been with me, and I've always been on top of, just knowing and just digging. Even, I was always the one creating all the playlists for my friends and events
Right.
and this and that, so I think it's just having a real passion for the music. I'm not in it for the clout. I'm not like that's like I don't care about that. Like I honestly, because of how I came up, let's say in the club scene in the 90s, you didn't know where the DJ was. You didn't care where the DJ was. You know what
True.
I mean? And I would much prefer going back to that model instead of, okay, social media following and creating content and doing all of this, because for me, it's all about the music. And
Right.
I know it might maybe sound a little bit corny or whatever, but and cliche, but it's so true for me. So it's just like when people put cameras in my face, things like I get a little bit uncomfortable because
Right.
I would much rather be up somewhere where no one can see me.
No, no, I definitely get that. And if well, first of all, I want to thank you so much, DJ Silent H, for being on the Dance House Dance podcast and for taking time out of your busy schedule. So, you got any gigs you want to promote or anything where you're gonna be? You want to talk about that or
Yes, I'd
yeah,
love to.
yeah,
So,
please.
okay, so for any roller skaters, I am at Brooklyn Skates every second Tuesday of the month. My next one is May 13th. And then today I actually just posted, which I'm very, very proud and so happy for this. It's also skate related, but I'm kind of bringing together different communities that are so close to me. So it's just the New Style Hustle community, roller skating, and I am having an event that I'm curating at Xanadu on June 7th, Saturday, June 7th.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's going to be amazing. And it's, house music, disco, and we're going to do a spotlight on New Style Hustle with Jeff Selby. So there's going to be, a showcase about what he does. And then also, how that relates to partner skating. So I'm
Okay.
somebody because I also hustle and I roller skate and just combining everything and then through the love of music. So I'm very excited for that. So that is Saturday, June 7th. And yeah.
No, that
And
sounds
then the
good. Yeah, go ahead. I'm
yeah, and
sorry.
then yeah, it's okay. And then the other thing is just like I mentioned, I'm part of the Love City like madness parties, and so we're gonna start having our summer madness parties starting in June. So
Okay.
definitely look at like if you're you see it on my page, those parties are amazing and we have amazing guest DJs and also the residents are amazing. There's D Soul Rivera, Bradford James, Zach Zodiac, and myself. And those will happen throughout the summer.
No, it sounds good. And if somebody want to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
Through my Instagram. So it's silent.h.dj yeah, that's on Instagram. And then, you can DM me there or email. The contact is also on my profile.
Yeah, I'll put that on the show notes. Well, first of all, DJ Silent H, again, thank you so much for being on Dance House Dance Podcast. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on. This has been fun talking
Yeah, no,
about
my
it.
pleasure. Take care. Bye bye.
You too.